Hi everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to make a fish out of your two pinch pots. I have the tools that you're going to be using, which are the elephant ear or metal rib, the needle tool, the small loop tool or ribbon tool, the cleaning tool, and possibly a paper clip if you have it. You'll be using your wooden rolling pin and your wooden thickness sticks. So you'll be using all 6 thickness sticks today. And your slip. Okay, so I have my 2 pinch pots right here, and I'm going to add my slip. So anytime we put 2 pinch pots together, it's the same procedures as we've done for all the other projects like the vase, the pumpkin. So I'm just going to go through that really quickly. Push these together. And again, it is okay if they don't match up perfectly because we're going to use a coil. So I rolled out a coil and I'm going to score the outside a little bit more. And I'm going to put my coil around the pinch pots. And then I'm going to show you how to sort of shape this more into a fish. And it will depend on the drawing of your fish and the style of your fish, how you want to do that. But I'm just going to show you kind of a simple way to make it look more like a fish shape. Add some more slip to the outside. Wrap this around. And so it's a little large, so I'm just going to take this off, and I'm probably going to use this for something else on the fish later, so I'm just going to set it aside for right now. I'm smoothing them, smoothing the coils, or the coil, I should say. All right, now I need to smooth using my elephant ear, and the best way to do that is to have the rounded edge on the outside, your thumb on one side, your forefingers on the other. And I'm going to smooth and turn as I'm smoothing. You're only going to get better at this with practice. So the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. But it is going to flatten one side of my fish a little bit, which I'm not, too happy about, but it'll be okay. So I'm getting this smoothed. I'm going to smooth some more in a little bit, but I want to show you what I'm going to do to kind of shape it into a fish. So I'm going to stretch it out by kind of rolling it across the wooden tabletop that I have. And then I'm going to kind of shape it a little bit more by squeezing the back into a more narrow piece. Then again, I need to keep smoothing, but you see the front of this is now more rounded, and then it kind of comes together kind of at an angle at the back. And that's what I want because that's where my tail is going to go. And then the face of my fish is going to go on the rounded part. So if you were wondering, how am I going to turn 2 pinch pots into a fish? That is how you do it, or that's the best way I've found to do it. So it kind of has right now it kind of has like a drop of water or teardrop shape to it. And that's kind of what you're looking for because the back of the fish gets a little bit more narrow. But again, it depends on the style of your fish and how you drew it. If you drew a puffer fish, for instance, you'd want it probably as round as possible. But it depends. It also depends on your pinch pots and what you're working with. Okay, so I'll do some more smoothing on this when I start to add things. So what I did is I rolled out, put this up here, I rolled out a slab using 3 thickness sticks on each side because you want a good thickness for your tail. And so I've rolled this out already, but I just wanted you to see that this is the thickness because you don't want the tail to be too thin, okay, or too thick. And the normal way that I draw out a tail, which again will depend on your design, but the normal way is I kind of do what I think of as a fishtail or like a whale tail, sort of just like this. And then I take that out, and then I have this cute little tail for my fish. Now, when I attach it to the back, I want it to really stay on there. But if I leave it just like this and I just score and slip and smooth, it's not going to be enough. I'm going to need to put a coil around this part. And so a lot of times students will forget to do that, and then they run into an issue with their things falling off as far as tails, um, other fins could fall off, or other even details. But when there's this space that's like this between, we need to make sure that we secure it really, really well. So I'm scoring both sides, and I'm going to slip both sides. And before I add the coil, I'm going to smooth. And that's where you could use this tool again, your elephant ear, or you can use the wooden modeling tool, whatever you prefer. I'm just showing you both in case you'd like to use one or the other. Okay, so that's smoothed on there and it looks nice, but I can guarantee that it would probably fall off if I just leave it like this. So I need to make sure that I do a little bit of extra adhering to it to make sure it looks good and stays on there. So this was the other part of my coil. I was going to maybe use it for the mouth, but I'm like, I'm going to use it right now. So I'm going to, again, score and slip. See, it already kind of wants to fall off as I'm doing this. So I want to make sure that I am really sticking these together really well. And again, I'm going to put this around, all the way around so that the coil meets. Then I'm going to use my fingers to start out by smoothing. Then I'll use one of the tools to smooth it even more. It can look a little bulky, and that's okay. I'd rather it be bulky and stick together than fall off and be super frustrating to me later. Because you are going to have to pick up your fish and do different things to it, so you want to make sure that the tail is really connected. And then I know it's a lot more secure. So now I can use the tools to smooth it out. But you can see that it's really connected. And I don't really have to worry too much about it falling off now. I would have before. I'm going to smooth the whole thing again. Just take off that excess on the side. And how you want to angle the tail is up to you. If you want it to go straight back, it can go straight back. If you want it to kind of curve so it looks like it's moving, you can do that. So I need to smooth some more. I want to get it nice and smooth because I want to put some scales on here. And so I'm going to show you a couple of different ways you could do that. So before I put the scales on, I decide where I want my face to kind of end and the body to begin. So I just kind of draw a line for right now, and then I can go over that later. I'm just going to have the face be in this general area. So I'm just drawing a line. But I want to put the scales on before I put the fins on. So there's the top fin, that's the dorsal fin up here, and then the side fins are called pectoral fins. So I could do this one of two ways. I could use the rounded edge of my small loop tool and kind of do a repeating pattern. So you see I can start getting scales. Or if you have a paper clip, you can use that too. I just have a large paper clip, so I can decide if I want to use the larger part or the inner smaller part, depending on how I want the scales to look. And again, it depends on your drawing. So you might want them to overlap somehow, but that is how you could add scales to your fish pretty easily and not having to try to draw them all out with your needle tool by hand. All of that, you can just kind of use the tool to make a repeating pattern. Okay, so pretend I have added all my scales and I'm ready to add the dorsal fin and the pectoral fin. So I'm using that same slab that I used earlier that was 3 thickness sticks thick on each side, and I'm going to use that for the dorsal fin, so that fin that goes on the top. And then I'm going to use it for the pectoral fins on each side. So when I do the pectoral fins, I kind of think of a leaf shape, but you could do a different shape if you wanted, and it depends on, again, your drawing. So I'm just going to make one, and I'm going to trace it a second time. So I have one for each side, and I know they'll be the same or very similar. So now I have those two. And I may want to make these a little bigger, and so the fact that these are pretty thick allows me to kind of roll them out. So if I roll them out at the same time, I can get the same look and the same thickness to each of them. Okay, so then I would score and slip them to the sides. So again, you always score the part that you're adding it to and the actual piece that you are adding. And so I might not want it to be completely against the body. So if I did the whole thing, it would stick all the way to the body. But I might want this to flip out a little bit because there might be something that it's holding or something like that. So I'm going to have it just go out just a little bit. And then I'm going to choose to use my wooden modeling tool. and I'm going to smooth it down. So this could, if I had scales going all the way down, that could kind of mess it up a little bit. So I might have to go back in and redo some by that if I have them. Some of your guys' designs don't have them, so it's okay. But it all depends, like I said, on your drawing. So I could just go back in and do that. So I'm starting to see my fish coming together. So I'm going to attach this other fin, and then I'm going to have it also going out. Or I could have it going up like this, like it's waving to somebody. I might do that. So it's like, so I think I'll do that. This is just a demo fish. I don't have a drawing. I've made so many fishes over the years, so I know it will be whimsical. But I've probably drawn like 10 fish, made more than 10 fish. Okay, so I'm going to do it so it's waving at somebody. And again, I'm going to use the wooden modeling tool. So he's waving to his friend, like, hey, come over here. You can see the side. This little fin is up. He's waving. So here's my fish so far. So now I have to just make a decision. Do I want a hole going through the mouth, or do I need to put one underneath? And normally I choose to put one through the mouth because then I know for sure there's a hole and it's not going to blow up. And so I think I'm going to show you two different ways to do lips. So I have a thinner slab that I rolled out, and I didn't use any thickness sticks. This is going to be for the smaller details. For example, I could have these girl looking lips for the fish from like Shark Tale. The girls had lips kind of looking like this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half. So I have a top lip and a bottom lip. And then I'm going to decide where I want this to go, because I'm going to want them to touch on my fish. So here's my fish's face. I kind of like this placement. I'm going to have to fix a few things, but I'm going to use my needle tool to trace the inside of the mouth while it's on there. Oops, and I cut into the lip, but that's okay. So I'm going to have this opening. So I'm going to use my needle tool to cut into my fish and get this piece out. And I see a little bit of clay in there still, so that's where the cleaning tool comes in handy. And I'm going to scoop that out. So I just got that clay out of there. And now it's open. And so now I don't have to make a hole in the fish. I already have one ready to go. So I'm going to score this part, score down here. Add some slip. Get some of that on here. And again, I have to set this down, and I have to score the top part of the mouth. And I'm going to place it on my fish. Smooth down with the wooden modeling tool. Then I'll smooth it again with my fingers. And then I have to do the same thing with the bottom. So it looks kind of messy now, but it'll get cleaned up a little bit. So I'm going to score the bottom lip. Score where the lip's going to go. And I still have plenty of slip on there, so that's kind of nice. I don't have to really apply more because I have plenty on there. Smooth that place where I accidentally cut it. Go back in with my needle tool, kind of clean it out, and then I'm going to use my cleaning tool again. Here's some fishy lips already added. Now, if I wanted to do a different type of lip, what I could do is there's a couple of different things you could do. You could cut another type of mouth out of this, or if you say your fish has a mustache, you could cut the mustache out. So I'm just kind of, my hands, I needed to probably wipe them off a little bit because now everything's sticking to them, but for time's sake, I don't have time to do that right now. So say this was the mustache of your fish. You could then roll a little coil, and then you wouldn't have the top lip showing, you would just have maybe even a little smaller bottom lip, just kind of peeking out. It's a little fish, another mouth. Another one you could do also involves rolling a coil, which would be rolling a coil and then kind of making that O shape. So it looks like the fish is kind of surprised, or just like a regular fish kind of has its mouth open and it's gonna get little food. And so I could have, this kind of mouth like from Shark Tale, or one like this, and just put it here and then still cut that hole through that. So that depends on what you'd like to do and how you want to do the eyes. That would include more cutting out of things. So for example, I would just do kind of more of an almond shape for the eye. And then I would score and slip that on. So I would decide where I want to put this. It's like, do I want it here? Do I want it further back to the side? So you can see it on the side. I like it closer to the front. So I would score and slip this on. Then I might add some more details onto this, like it's got some eyeliner on. And if you did eyelashes, then you could use your needle tool. I probably wouldn't suggest making little tiny coils for that because they will probably fall off. So I would add that, add an eye, maybe add this, depending on the shape that you have. So you can see the fish is starting to come together. It's waving. It's like, hello. And then I might do some other things up here to continue making it look um, more fancy. And so then I would, once I get this as smooth as I'd like, I would add some lines to this using my needle tool. So I would kind of create some interest in this. So it kind of looks more like a fish. And it's not something that you can get done really quickly. Like, you should take your time and add your details, get it as smooth as you like. I'm just going fast because I'm doing a video. So my fish is starting to get there. And she's gonna have some little flowers and some other things going on. And I might have her holding something back here. So this is basically the easiest way to construct your fish and start adding details. I hope this helps. And if you have questions, you can always come to the Zoom meetings and ask more questions. Take care, you guys.